Alright guys, here we go again with another video talking about the FNAF Tales from the Pizzaplex Graphic Novel Volume 2 Collection. The main reason I'm doing a second video so soon to the other one is because there's been a new revelation that's just come out, and that the graphic novel has apparently been cancelled. Yeah, I'm not kidding, I was shocked too, wow. I wonder why. The novel was pretty much complete, aside from like the mimic story if they wanted to go and do some more shading on the characters or something. Other than that, they could have just released it and then boom, and it's still like a few months away in September 2nd or something. That's when it released, so they still got time to just make a couple changes still. Why? Now, there are many reasons why this could have been cancelled. The main one, of course, is the leaks. I mean, there's two subcategories to the leaks being the reason it was cancelled. One is because it was just leaked in the first place. Two is because of the reception to the leaks. Now, with option one, do I think it was cancelled because it was just leaked? I don't know. I don't really think there's any leak in FNAF history that really compares. It's on the same level as this graphic novel. I think the only one I can remember off the top of my head was, I think the of course the security breach stuff with the merch stuff, and there was also the Into the Pit gameplay trailer or something that got leaked early, I think. Now, I don't really think you can really compare these two to the this leak and this novel being cancelled. Like trying to see, what was the outcome of this leak, and does that apply to this graphic novel leaking? I don't think you can apply those because they're very different formats. Maybe you could say the merch. I think Scott was pretty upset, I remember, about the security breach, like the designs and all that being leaked early. And he said things will be happening very differently from now on, which I think was Funko losing like the action figure license, maybe, or just the way they revealed the merch. I don't know, but I don't know. It could be because it just leaked in the first place, but I don't know. I just don't think so, but it's definitely possible. Now, option two, was it because of the reception to the leaks? I don't know. I feel like it could be both either likely and more likely, because if say like most people were complaining about the mimic story, and I think what they could have just done is, since that one looked the least complete, I think they could have just changed it up a little bit, because I don't think that was the final version. I really don't know, because comparing like the quality of the mimic story to the other ones, it doesn't look as good. So I don't know if it was the final version or not. I don't think that it is, because also there's this photo posted by the artist way back in like April, when it was revealed they were going to be doing the art for this graphic novel with the mimic story, and you can tell it's the same mimic design, the Ruin one, the same one as the graphic novel leaks, but the shading and the coloring is way more accurate to Ruin than the weird blue and the orange cloth that he had on his head in the leaks. He's still not accurate to his description in the books, of course, but the colors and the shading is way better in this photo compared to the actual graphic novel leaks with the weird blue and the orange cloth he has. Ugh. So I feel like this means one of two things. One, he was originally going to look like this in the graphic novel, but then due to either time constraints or budget reasons, they just couldn't do it. Two, he was going to look like this in the final version of the graphic novel, but of course the novel was cancelled and he hadn't been properly coloured yet in the version that the leak is from. So I didn't know why they didn't just either fix up most of the panels, I don't know to what extent, but even just like fixing up the shading on the characters, like give them a bit more detail or change the details on them. I don't know why they didn't just do that and then just release another preview, and then people realize, oh wait, that leak was completely wrong, that was an early version, oh the graphic novel was actually really good. I don't know why they didn't just do that. So there must have been some other reason why they cancelled the novel. Maybe it is still coming out and they're still going to end up doing that, but it's going to be completely different, like the cover's going to be completely different, I don't know. Now, as a side note, a few of you might be asking why I didn't mention the cover also using Ruin Mimic in my original video. We've had the cover for a while now, but I didn't mention it because I didn't really trust the cover to represent the actual content inside the book. And plus there was, of course, the classic Fourth Closet trilogy where Nightmare was on the cover and he wasn't even in the story. Now, going back on topic, it also looked like the novel coming after this, Volume 3 collection of the Tales from the Pizzaplex graphic novel, I don't know if that has been cancelled, because it doesn't look like Volume 3 has been cancelled with the Tiger Rock story and all that. And I'm pretty sure some people didn't like the art in that as well, so why didn't they cancel that one? I don't know. I feel like the leak, it has to be the leak. Maybe because of the poor reception to the leaks, and even if they did fix it up and change it up in the final version, people would still be really upset and they'd still just have the leaks in their mind and not purchase it. Also, maybe because since people have already seen inside the leak, they already know all the pages. Like, oh, why am I going to go out and buy the books and it looks horrible? I'm not going to go bother buying the graphic novel because it's so bad and I've already seen what it looks like inside. Maybe that's why. Now, one of the reasons why this graphic novel looks just so weird and all that with, like, Edwin's design, people did not like how Edwin looks. I'm sure you guys probably don't like how he looks as well. I'm not happy with how he looks. I mean, I've chalked it up with me being used to the game design now in Secret of the Mimic, but a lot of people didn't like how he looked like a weird teenager. He didn't look like a workman. To me, he looks like a generic Bob Ross ripoff, like wearing casuals and all that. People didn't like how David looks. I think David looks a bit better, but he's not perfect. I've also seen people trying to compare these designs to Secret of the Mimic, and I don't feel like that's the best thing to do because, of course, this book came out before Secret of the Mimic was released. I know they probably could have been given some material if they really wanted to from Secret of the Mimic, but they didn't. And people are also trying to say that maybe Edwin and David look different because it's the book version, it's not accurate to the games, the separate timelines as proven in Secret of the Mimic, but I feel like that's just looking too deep. I don't think that's the actual reason why they look different. I don't even know if the Murray family in the graphic novel is even accurate to the actual book story, like what they did with the Mimic, where it's not accurate to the original story. I don't think the Murray family really are. And one of the reasons why these characters look this way and the entire graphic novels as a whole is just pretty inaccurate to what's described in the books is actually it's intentional. As an example, one of the other graphic novels has Ballora in it, and apparently in the actual story she looks different and she doesn't have legs, but in the graphic novel they made her look like how she does in the games and they gave her legs and all that. And one person realized this and they actually asked the artist, why is Ballora inaccurate to the description in the books? And the artist replied saying, oh, it's because they were given directions to basically make Ballora look like how she does in the games. They knew that that's not how she should look like in the story, but they were told that, oh, you must make Ballora look like this, and they're given certain directions to basically make the graphic novels how they are. Now, if this situation is true, and this is the main reason why the graphic novels look like this, and are this quality, that's even worse in my opinion than the artist messing up, because it is intentional. They are making the graphic novels wrong, and they're making them bad quality intentionally, and that's just really disappointing. Like, that's so upsetting. I don't know why. That means they intentionally made the Mimic look like this. Why? I feel like it's because they think the Ruin design is more recognizable, because if they made him look different, people would be upset, like, oh, why does the Mimic look so weird? Oh. And then people are going to hate on the graphic novels for that reason. Well, why aren't they hating on the main story then for describing him differently? I feel like him being different in the graphic novel is one of the reasons why people would buy them, because they want to see him look different. They want to see the book's version of the Mimic, not something they've seen before. I feel like that's one of the reasons people would want to look at the graphic novels. I wanted to look at the graphic novels because I wanted to see what the Mimic looked like. I wanted to see what the artist's interpretation of the Mimic would look like. I want to see like an official interpretation somewhat of the Mimic from the story. No, that's not what we got. Now, they might be using the game's design because they think it's more recognizable, which it probably is, but still, I mean, I feel like seeing a different version of the Mimic, if you walk by this in the store, you're going to see a different version of the Mimic, and you're going to be like, oh, why is he different? I'm going to go read the story. It's still probably going to be the same outcome. Now, maybe people are going to see it in the store, they're going to, maybe the people over at Scholastic are going to think, oh, people are going to have a quick skim through the books and then see the Mimic, and they're going to be like, oh, the Mimic, I'm going to buy that. I want to see what the Mimic does in this story. Whereas if it's a different interpretation of the Mimic, then people are going to not recognize him and quickly skim through and miss that it's the Mimic, and then not buy any books. So yeah, maybe I can get behind the cover being the Ruined Mimic design. Now, like I said before, I don't really care about the cover because it's the main content inside. This applies to what I was just talking about. It applies to the cover, but it doesn't apply to what's inside. Maybe because they think that when people go and open up the book in the store and have a look through, they're going to see mimic that looks different from the cover, they're gonna think, oh, that's like clickbait, but a book version. Oh, I don't know the term because I'm a Gen Z kid. Oh, I'm not gonna buy this. But then they've done this for other graphic novels and other books in the past, like what I just said with The Fourth Closet and Nightmare. People are gonna realize, oh, Nightmare's not in the book. Well, I guess because they're gonna realize it too late. I don't know 100%, but I don't feel like this would be too much of an issue. And even if it was an issue, why not tell the artist to take Ruined Mimic and just apply details from the books onto him? Have him be accurate to the books, but not stray too far away from Ruined Mimic. Use him as like the base. I don't know, I feel like they didn't do it because it's either because of budgets, time, or just pure laziness, honestly. And Scholastic are being very strict with the designs in the books. That also goes into how apparently they are apparently a bit of a pain to work with. Apparently the artists weren't being treated very well. They were being underpaid, and they were given very strict time constraints as well. So I heard that they apparently are a really big pain to work with, and that is really disappointing that they're being very strict and very unfair, and it just makes for a really bad graphic novel. Now, I'm not sure how much Scholastic affects the quality of the books, like with the shading and all that and the designs. I'm not sure what extent they're forcing the artists to stick to the game designs. Like, will they allow them to give the Mimic the doll eyes? Will they allow them to give the Mimic the chattering teeth? Will they allow them to give them the pincer hands while staying true to the Ruin design? It's just changing a couple things, and already you're more accurate to the books. Like, if a complete redesign of the Mimic to be accurate to the books is outside of the question, then why not just apply some of those aspects to the Ruin Mimic? Like, not all of them, but at least some of them. Did Scholastic allow that, and to what extent, or did they not? I don't know. I don't know how much control they have. But judging by what we've seen, I think it's more likely that their control is more on the stricter end. But I don't think they force the artists to trace some of the panels. No hate to the artists, because I don't know the story behind it, and I don't want to send any hate towards them, but I don't know how many panels are traced. I only know that at least 2 of them are. But, of course, this was just a leak, and I don't know if these were just temporary, just for the artists themselves. I don't know. Now, before I wrap things up, I want to quickly point out that I'm not trying to bash the Ruined Mimic or the Secret of the Mimic 1979 Mimic design. I'm not trying to bash on them and say, oh, those designs suck. No, I really like them, but neither of them match what's described in the original Mimic story. That's why I was really hoping we would see this version of the Mimic in the graphic novel, especially since we didn't get it in Secret of the Mimic. Like I said in the last video, there's so many ways to interpret what the Mimic looks like in this story. Like, does he look like Ruined Mimic with those details? Does he look like the Mimic from Secret of the Mimic with those details? I was hoping we would get an official interpretation, but that wasn't the case. We just got something that comes off as lazy. Now, as I end off this video, I want to kind of apologize to you guys, to Scott, to anyone who kind of worked on the books, kind of. I kind of want to apologize mainly for being a bit negative. I tried not to be too hateful. Of course, I'm just mostly just upset, disappointed, and dumbfounded by this book. I don't want to send violence or hate towards anyone. I've looked at this graphic novel from a marketing and production standpoint as well in this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll also try to keep you guys updated in the description, the pinned comment, and on my community post if there's any more to this situation like I've said before. Also, let me know in the comments if you want to see my interpretation of the Mimic story in Blender, like I said in the last video. Bye.